Good evening and welcome. You are watching the Political Stock Exchange. I'm Rahul Kanwal. So who won the big no confidence motion in the eyes of the Indian voter? The results of the India Today See Voter snap poll on the big no confidence motion debate coming up on this week's Political Stock Exchange.
Who won the no trust war? Team India versus Team NDA. Who's ahead in run-up to 2024? First opinion poll, post-parliament debate. Political Stock Exchange.
Rahul Gandhi tried to make it round 3 of the Rahul versus Modi duel. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi launched a fresh attack on the Prime Minister in a press conference in Delhi. He attacked the PM for his response on Manipur in Parliament.
कल प्रधानमंत्री जी ने पार्लियामेंट में 2 घंटे 13 मिनट भाषण किया. उसमें अंत में 2 मिनट उन्होंने मणिपुर की बात की.
A day after Narendra Modi's fiery speech in Parliament defending his government against the opposition's no confidence motion, Rahul Gandhi hits back at the Prime Minister.
कल प्रधानमंत्री
The Congress MP on Friday branded the Prime Minister a petty politician and accused him of mocking India in his 2-hour speech.
मणिपुर में महीनों से आग लगी हुई है. लोग मारे जा रहे हैं, बलात्कार हो रहा है, बच्चों को मारा जा रहा है. और अगर आपने देखा होगा कल, तो प्रधानमंत्री हंस हंस के बोल रहे थे, मुस्कुरा रहे थे, जोक्स क्रैक कर रहे थे, हंस रहे थे. ये उनको शोभा नहीं देता.
A combative Rahul also alleged that the Prime Minister was fueling the Manipur fire instead of trying to douse it.
It will take the Indian Army 2 days to put an end to the nonsense that is going on in Manipur. The Prime Minister refuses to stop the fire. He wants Manipur to burn.
Prime Minister in his speech had accused the Congress of politicizing the Manipur issue and running away from the debate, referring to the walkout by the opposition.
मैं आज बड़ी गंभीरता से कहना चाहता हूं, नॉर्थ ईस्ट की इन समस्याओं की कोई जननी है तो जननी एकमात्र कांग्रेस है. नॉर्थ ईस्ट के लोग इसके लिए जिम्मेवार नहीं हैं, इनकी ये राजनीति जिम्मेवार है.
The Prime Minister also lashed out at Rahul for his Bharat Mata jibe, which the Congress leader repeated on Friday.
पता नहीं क्यों कुछ लोगों को भारत मां की मृत्यु की कामना करते नजर आ रहे हैं. दरअसल जो इनके मन में है वही उनके कृतित्व में सामने आ जाता है.
For the first time, the words Bharat Mata have been expunged from the parliament. It's an insult to those words. Whatever I said that is wrong. I have said Bharat Mata, which is an idea, which is the idea of India, where everybody lives peacefully, harmoniously, with affection, has been killed in Manipur. It's a fact.
While Congress allies don't want 2024 to be a Modi versus Rahul battle, the no confidence motion has probably ended up doing exactly that. Bureau Report, India Today.
Who won the big no confidence motion debate in Parliament is known. What's not known is how did the voters of India respond and react to what went on in Parliament. See Voter, all through the day today, sampled 3,767 people in this catty telephonic snap poll. I'll put out the results for the first time on this week's edition of the Political Stock Exchange. Let's take you through the results one by one. Joining me, my colleague, India Today's consulting editor Rajdeep Sardesai, with us also the lead cephalogist at Sea Voter, Yashwant Deshmukh. He and his team working through the night and then through the day putting these results together. So let's get started. We'll have leaders from both parties joining us as well. Supriya Shirnath from the Congress is with us. Gaurav Bhatia from the Bharatiya Janata Party will be with us as well. So let's take question number one. Was the India Alliance correct in bringing the no confidence motion? Remember, so far we've seen the pyrotechnics in Parliament. What we don't know is what does the Indian Janata think? What do the people think? So here it is for the first time. Question number one. Was the India Alliance right in bringing the no confidence motion? Just 33% of the respondents say yes. Just 33% of the respondents. 46% of opposition voters say yes, but just 33% of the overall respondents. 51% of the respondents say no. The India Alliance at this stage should not have brought this no confidence motion. Rajdeep, straight off the bat, question number one, it just seems on the premise of the no confidence motion itself, Supriya Shirnath's party and the India Alliance don't seem to enjoy the people's support.
Look, we've seen this, Rahul, in poll after poll in recent times, barring the exception of August 2021. In the post-COVID era, Narendra Modi enjoys a high degree of trust. So when you bring in a no confidence motion against Mr. Modi, you've got to make sure that it's on an issue that's going to resonate far and wide. Let's be honest, I'm glad that Parliament debated Manipur. It brought the Northeast on the national consciousness. But the Northeast, sadly, is not India. Manipur is not India. There will be parts of the country where the issues are very different and where Mr. Modi, it appears, at least from the poll, continues to enjoy a very high level of popularity. So when you ask the question, is the India Alliance right in bringing a no confidence motion? By and large, you would think that those who are supporters of Narendra Modi have said no. So it's a thumbs down from Mr. Modi's supporters, even as those who are possibly anti-Modi. And there is a as you can see, there is a sizable group there as well, not as big as the other side, but 36% will say, the opposition should have brought it. So, the fact is, I think we are in a polarized polity where Mr. Modi enjoys a very high degree of trust. That's very clear, which is why the opposition is finding it so difficult to, in a way, break down this sort of larger-than-life image of Mr.
Even
Modi.
one-third of the opposition's voters, those who identified in this poll as being opposition voters, don't agree with the premise of bringing a no-confidence motion. The first data set suggests that only 33% of the overall respondents even agree that there should have been a no-confidence motion at this stage against the government. Supriya?
No, I disagree with your premise, and I'll tell you why. If you see the tables, and I hope you can hear me.
I hear you well. Go on, please. I hear you.
No, I disagree with your premise, because if you see the tables, and we've read charts and tables in all our previous avatars, the 66% is an aberration. And those are NDA voters, and that really topples the apple cart so much so in NDA's favor. But the reality is, this is not about right or wrong. This was the only way to get Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who chose not to appear in the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha even once, to come and speak on Manipur. So what? He spoke for 2 hours, 13 minutes and spoke on Manipur only for 2 minutes. So what? He did the what about me. So what? He disrespected the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force for their efforts in 1966 and 1974. So what? He did all of this. But the reality is, this was the only way to make the Prime Minister break his silence on Manipur, a studious silence. His apathy is for everybody to see. There was a sentence that the Prime Minister said, and I did not want to put it out, but now that it's on social media, I will just repeat it here. The Prime Minister, while replying, saying, "Wahi ghisi piti baatein." That's what he said, and I can play it for you. घिसी पिटी बातें, मणिपुर आपके लिए घिसी पिटी बातें हैं. 100 दिन से जल रहा है मणिपुर. You chose to make a rare appearance, and that too for 2 minutes. That all that he spoke on. 2 minutes for Manipur.
So the next question is the point that Supriya is making. The Congress's argument is that this was the only way to get the PM to speak on Manipur. So I want to go across and show you the results of the second question. Was the no confidence motion the only way of forcing the Prime Minister to speak on Manipur? Here are the results on your screen right now on this key point made by the India Alliance. So the question is, was this the only way of making the Prime Minister to speak on Manipur? 42% of the respondents say yes, this was the only way. 43% of the respondents say no. So very divided on whether this was the only way to get the Prime Minister to speak on Manipur or not. So on this question, let me go across to Yashwant Deshmukh, because Supriya can argue that your poll is polarized along political lines. This isn't necessarily, you know, your middle of the road, undecided voters. These are voters across the political spectrum, and because 31% plus vote for the BJP, therefore this poll even in the beginning is skewed against the Congress and the India Alliance, and therefore in all the responses the BJP and the Prime Minister come up trumps. How do you respond to that, Yashwant Deshmukh?
Well, it's a representative sample. So, I mean, obviously, if the public is divided or polarized in the political lines, they will answer it in the same way. You know, it's not an NGO work. Politics is not an NGO work. People are divided and they will answer in the political line the way they have to. It is the same set of people, Rahul,
that
when
argument
we asked,
is that that's how the country is. I mean, it is divided and the poll captures the division. So that I don't think is a fair criticism, because you're not supposed to go only to the middle of the road swing voter. You go to a representative sample, which is what Yashwant and the team have done.
No, my sense though is Rahul, from these numbers, clearly a large number of people have high trust in the Prime Minister and therefore question why there is a no confidence motion. However, a substantial number, and much higher here, say this was the only way. The only way to get the Prime Minister to speak on Manipur was to bring a no confidence motion. So it's to my mind, the opposition can hold on to that and say, look, this is what we've been telling you, that for 77 days it required a viral video for the Prime Minister to make one short statement outside Parliament. He was not speaking inside, so we had to bring in a no confidence motion. So if this is about perception, and this no confidence motion, Rahul, was about perception, not numbers, I think perception is at one level something that the opposition also has a little bit to cling on to, some straws.
No, but they do, even empirically. 31% vote for the BJP, 42% say this was the only way to get the PM to speak on Manipur. So 11% extra are saying that this was the only way to drag them in. 43% are saying no, this wasn't the only way to get the PM to speak on Manipur.
So the BJP can hang on to the fact that your majority of the people in this poll are saying you shouldn't have brought a no confidence motion. It's not necessary. You don't really need a no confidence motion. But a large number of people are also saying the only way to get the Prime Minister to speak is to have a no confidence motion. So both sides, in a way, have got something to build on their own respective narratives.
So Jeeta Khan, who benefited more from the no confidence motion? Coming up on your screen now, 40% of the overall respondents say that NDA was the beneficiary. They think that NDA won the day. The India Alliance, 13% of the respondents say India Alliance won, 36% say neither, no one won. But 40%, the biggest number there, Gaurav Bhatia seemed to have thought that NDA won, not just in terms of numbers, but in terms of the opinion amongst the Indian voters. 40% of the respondents seem to believe that NDA benefited more from this no confidence motion. Gaurav Bhatia.
Rahul, can I come in?
Yes, the question is to you, so you must.
Yeah, thank you. Rahul, for a moment I thought that Rahul Kanwal as an anchor thinks that NDA under the leadership of Narendra Modi ji is so well positioned that you don't even need to go to the BJP spokesperson. And you know the outcome of the 2024 elections, where we will again have a, huge victory over the so-called INDIA, the Ghamandia. But I must say this, I'll come to your question as well and the survey that you have posed. Let me make it very clear, nothing is divided. India is firmly standing behind Shri Narendra Modi ji, and there is a reason. Narendra Modi ji, when he spoke on the floor of the House, he was statesmanlike. He did say that this is very unfortunate, but at the same time, 2-3 things that he said will resonate with every well-meaning citizen. One, he said, what has happened has put the entire country to shame. 2, justice will be ensured for the victims. And 3, Manipur will be back on the path of prosperity and development soon. This is the healing touch that a leader of Narendra Modi ji's stature could have provided. Second, what did Rahul Gandhi do? Rahul Gandhi further dented his image as an immature, part-time, irresponsible leader. And I say this with some responsibility. You don't say, Bharat Mata ki hatya hui hai. That is unacceptable because our democracy is the world's strongest democracy. There might be aberrations, there might be moments which would force us to reflect, but it doesn't mean that India is dead. Second, to call Prime Minister Rawal and to say he is Dhritarashtra like Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary did, I think only shows that there is no substance in the arguments that the opposition was placing on the floor of the House. It wasn't a very meaningful discussion. The only numbers, authentic data, the future course came from the Treasury benches. Third, if you look at your survey now, look at the difference between the gain for the NDA and the gain for the Ghamandia. The NDA 40.2% feel that, it is to the advantage of the NDA after the discussion on the floor of the House. Compare this with 12.9% for the Ghamandia, a difference of almost 27%. That's a huge difference, and this would amplify once the polls are nearer. Because people of India feel that Narendra Modi ji is that one leader who will take the country forward.
So I want to
not
come to the
Ghamandia
next
who
question,
insults our
which is
country
which
and the
leader
Prime Minister.
benefited the most from this no confidence motion? Because this was really an opportunity, in the view of the Congress leadership, for Rahul Gandhi to hit a few punches and to up his political stock. Did that succeed? So this is the data from the Sea Water poll. Who benefited from the no confidence motion? 48% of the overall respondents say Prime Minister Modi was the biggest beneficiary. 20% of the respondents say Rahul Gandhi was the biggest beneficiary. Amit Shah at 6, Gaurav Gogoi at 4, and then you've got Smriti Irani at 1%. So, Yashwant Deshmukh, it's very clear from your data that 50% of the respondents seem to think that Prime Minister Modi was the biggest beneficiary. Rahul Gandhi at 20. How does this compare with his overall popularity rating?
I think this is pretty much in line with the overall tracker ratings that we have been moving on. If you will add Amit Shah numbers and, Amit Shah number and Smriti Irani, other BJP numbers with the Prime Minister, I think this is where his ratings in the 40s and the 50s, they continue to be. And same goes with Rahul Gandhi ji, that, his ratings in the 20s, that they continue to be. I think he has repaired a lot of his ratings after, Bharat Jodo Yatra and Karnataka victory. And even if this parliament session is included, I think the contrast is looking big between Prime Minister and Rahul Gandhi, no doubt. But as far as Rahul Gandhi's personal ratings are concerned, I think he has repaired them a lot from the drastically low rating that went down in 3 years after 2019
but Rahul Srivastava, there are
verdict.
two ways of looking at it. One, of course, his stock had fallen to the bottom of the barrel, and therefore he's now come up a little. But there still is a gap of day and night between the Prime Minister and Rahul Gandhi in terms of where they stack. So it really depends on whether you want to see this glass half empty or half full. He's still a mile away from matching the popularity of the Prime Minister or coming anywhere close.
Rahul, if you see the first 3 to 4 points which we have taken, one, yes, there is a Narendra Modi image factor, very critical. Then also, it has got the factor that among NDA voters, Modi enjoys such a wide popularity that it takes away, if you cut out the averages, then you have Modi very popular. But I think point one, majority don't agree that the confidence motion was needed. The second, I think if you see, a story also emerges that the opposition failed to amplify its own agenda. If it had been able to amplify that agenda, perhaps there would have been more consciousness about it. Because if you see point number 2, that there is a difference between yes and no on the issue of, on the second issue, then it means somewhere that the opposition has been able to tell the public that Prime Minister Modi does not attend the House. On the attendance issue, you have got the gap which is closer. That means some agenda, if the opposition does amplify well, does create the right amount of resonance for it, the public does pay attention. Yes, the public is indifferent a lot to what happens in Parliament. But I think how you carry yourself out, I think the opposition missed a trick as far as its own Manipur agenda and making PM speak is concerned.
On that question of looking at the difference between Prime Minister Modi and Rahul Gandhi at this moment, Yashwant says Rahul has improved relative to how low he'd fallen, but there still is a massive gap between those who thought Modi won and those who thought Rahul won, a 28% gap. That's massive.
You see, the fact is, that question is looking at a situation where Mr. Modi is at his strongest, i.e. the floor of Parliament. Mr. Modi is, whichever side of the political divide you are, when it comes to the power of communication, he's a terrific communicator.
You're saying he's strongest there. Where is Rahul stronger than Modi?
No. You see, if it's a leadership contest inside Parliament between Rahul Gandhi, the Speaker, and Mr. Modi, the Speaker, it's possibly a no contest. But let's also be clear that when it comes to narratives, and we are seeing a bit of that in this poll, that the Prime Minister was not speaking on Manipur. When you look at those narratives, the sub-narratives beyond the two personalities, I think the opposition also has a story out there. So I think this poll suggests that the opposition had an opportunity to, as Rahul Srivastava says, amplify the narrative. Maybe they were less successful in that because they didn't have the kind of strong communicators that the government had. The government had 15 speakers in this no confidence motion, 2 of whom, the Prime Minister and Amit Shah, spoke for more than 2 hours each. The opposition has relative lightweights. I mean, Rahul Gandhi, in a sense, is the most recognizable face within the opposition ranks today in the Lok Sabha. By even Gaurav Gogoi. Is Gaurav Gogoi a recognized face pan-India? No, he's not. Can he compare with an Amit Shah? No, he cannot. Can a Rahul Gandhi as a communicator compare with Narendra Modi? No, he cannot. The opposition's opportunity is amplifying narratives.
Okay,
focus on issues, on muddas.
Just one by one. Supriya Shirnet, Yashwant Deshmukh says Rahul has recovered from the low to which he'd fallen. That's a positive. The negative is Prime Minister Modi is still winning by a mile.
No, I'll tell you the story about Prime Minister Modi and listen to it carefully, and please do not interrupt me. That's all that I will ask for you. I will take a minute to explain that story. The Prime Minister is the most, like Rajdeep and others have been saying on the show, he's a master communicator. But you know where is he a master communicator? Never within the House, in election rallies. He's never a master communicator within the House because in the House, the number of debates that the Prime Minister has participated in are only 8, including the one last evening. Whereas for Prime Ministers before him, the average has been 25. The number of speeches he has given on an average every year within the House are only at 15. The average for Prime Ministers before him have been 30. So he does not like to communicate in the House. What master communication are we talking about? The man who spoke for 133 minutes and found 2 minutes from 6:44 p.m. to 6:46 to be precise. I also want to raise a very important point here. The very premise of this debate is wrong. And I will tell you why. This was never about the no confidence motion. This was never about the numbers. This was never about toppling the government. This was about putting Manipur in the focus. And I think as a united opposition, as India, we stand vindicated. The Prime Minister who chose not to speak for 78 days had to finally come to the House. It's an interesting day that we are talking about this today. Today is the 100th day of the Manipur violence. There are only 3 questions that continue to plague all our minds. Why did Prime Minister Modi not visit Manipur for 100 days? Why was he quiet for 78 days? And why does Biren Singh continue to be the Chief Minister? 35 police
so
stations
Gaurav Bhatia,
looted.
Supriya Shirnet's argument is our plan was to get the attention.
Let me please finish.
Okay, 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Come on. This is what sort of a show is this?
Okay.
You spoke
that's
for
your
a minute
problem,
and a half.
Rahul. When somebody is speaking, you just have to interfere. It's okay, you go ahead. Forget it, just go ahead.
You spoke
There's
for
no
so
point.
long. Don't be
Because you're
unfair.
gonna do
You
that
went
again, so
on
go
and
ahead.
on. At some point in time, I had to come in.
Go
Gaurav
ahead.
Bhatia,
Just go ahead.
respond to
I
Supriya
did not go on and
Shrinet's
on. I asked for
argument.
1.5 minutes and I spoke for 1.5 minutes.
You asked for 1 minute, I gave you 1.5 minutes. Anyway, doesn't matter. So just 1 second. Gaurav
Forget it,
Bhatia,
there's no point.
Supriya's argument is
That's okay.
we
Rahul, it's
forced
okay.
the
We know your
government to
debates.
speak
We all know
on
your
Manipur.
debates. Go ahead.
We forced the government to speak on Manipur. We brought attention on Manipur. That is the opposition's victory. That is India's victory. Respond to that. Gaurav Bhatia.
India's real victory is that Rahul Gandhi yet again has been proven wrong, because on foreign soil he said democracy in India is dead. If we are having a meaningful discussion inside the parliament, that means the democracy is alive. It is up and kicking. And therefore Rahul Gandhi is proven wrong. But I am focusing on your survey, Rahul. And after the results are seen, Gamandia is not right in bringing the no confidence motion. It is clear from the first question that you've asked. The second one, the no confidence motion wasn't the only way to ensure the PM speaks on the floor of the House, and the reason is very simple. Under Rule 167, when Amit Shah ji said there would be no time limit and the focus would have been only on Manipur, then I think the opposition lost out on a golden opportunity to just focus on the Manipur issue, and they actually increased the scope of the discussion by bringing a no confidence motion. Third, your survey also reflects that it is the NDA which has benefited the most out of the discussion that has taken place on the no confidence motion. And when we compare Narendra Modi ji with Rahul Gandhi, there is no comparison whatsoever. And in reality, there is no comparison.
I challenge you to do that.
एक शेर कह के खत्म करूंगा अपनी बात. ना मैं गिरा. Please ask her to be quiet and be civilized. मैं एक कपलेट सुनाना चाहता हूँ. ना मैं गिरा, ना मेरी उम्मीदों के मीनार गिरे, लेकिन मुझे गिराने में कुछ लोग 100 बार गिरे. यही हाल है राहुल गांधी का और कांग्रेस पार्टी का. नरेंद्र मोदी जी will again be
Supriya Shrinate, if you have a couplet, I'm coming back to you. Supriya, if you have a couplet, I'm coming back to you immediately. Otherwise, I'm going to go to some data and come back to you while you think of a share to counter what Gaurav Bhatia just said. Okay, here is the next question coming up on the screen right now. Did the government successfully defend itself against the charges of the opposition? So was the government successful in defending against the charges leveled against it? 57% of the respondents say yes, 30% of the respondents say no. So they think the government did defend itself against the charges. How do you, I want to come to the Bharat Mata statement of Rahul Gandhi. What do people think about Rahul Gandhi's statement that Bharat Mata was murdered? Here is the response. 56% of the respondents say no. That's much more, remember, than the number of people who vote for the BJP or the NDA. 34% think that statement is right. If I read the data for what it says, Yashwant Deshmukh, Rahul Gandhi should probably not have said that Bharat Mata has been killed in Manipur, or even if he did, at least he hasn't been able to swing public opinion in his favor.
You see, Rahul, it's not just one statement. If you remember the earlier snap polls on Manipur issue, all of the India was really, really upset and angry and was very clearly saying, you remember that number where almost like 70% of even BJP supporters said that either you put a president's rule in Manipur or you sack the chief minister. That was the level of the anger on the issue of the Manipur after those videos, got viral of gang rape and all those atrocities. However, when you tap into that kind of anger of public, including the NDA voters, after that, I think I was expecting the numbers to be way more anger, way more in different way after this debate. But if they are not coming in that way, that means somewhere down the line, I think the opposition actually missed the opportunity, as Rahul just said, that, they should have actually gone ahead and participated in the discussion on Manipur, probably to tap into that rather than just coming up with the
in this poll think Rahul Gandhi's comment on Bharat Mata being murdered in Manipur is wrong. He said what he said, But people don't seem to have bought his argument. They think he shouldn't have said this.
He absolutely should have said it. And he should say it even more forcefully now. And I will tell you why. What is Bharat Mata? Bharat Mata kya hai? Nadi hai, nale hai, khet hai, kalyan hai, baag hai, bagiche hai, ped hai, pallav hai. What is Bharat Mata? Bharat Mata are the people of this country. People like you, people like me, our brothers and sisters in Manipur. 160 of whom are dead, 60,000 of them displaced, 5,000 of those houses burnt down. That's Bharat Mata. And the Prime Minister chooses to laugh in the Lok Sabha. He has the audacity to actually stand there and do indulgent sloganeering.
No, but what you are saying is not linked to the data. On the data, I am saying that 56% of the respondents think that he is wrong.
Can I respond?
But ma'am, what you are saying is not linked to the data. The data is telling you 56% of the respondents think that he shouldn't have said this.
Rahul, just listen to me now. Rahul, you listen to me now. I also want to point out the data to you. I spoke for 46 seconds. You cut me. 2 minutes, 1 second is how the BJP spokesperson spoke. This is the data. I have a stopwatch here. So please don't call us for shows if you have to constantly intervene. I'm making a point. Let me finish it. Otherwise, I can leave and you anyways have everybody else to do a discussion. Whoever else can represent the Congress, because nobody on this panel certainly can. I have a very simple point to make. And that point is, this is not...
Okay, Gaurav, let us speak. Gaurav, before she accuses me of doing an Om Birla, let us speak. Gaurav, let's be fair. Otherwise, she'll keep saying, your face was on camera for so long, I didn't get to speak. Let us speak. Let's be fair. No, let us speak. Let us speak, please. Supreshne, please go ahead.
Absolutely. Let us.
The reality, Rahul Kanwal and everybody else on this panel, is that when my leader spoke for 15 minutes 42 seconds in the Lok Sabha on Manipur, for 11 minutes 8 seconds of the time the camera was on the speaker. Can you, any of you who understands production, justify 71% of the time on somebody else when there is a
Ma'am, you aren't
speaker in the
responding
house
to
and
my
you could have
question,
focused
which
on
is
it.
why I'm
So don't talk
interjecting. My
nonsense
question
here,
is that
Gaurav Bhatia.
56% of the
I am answering your
respondents
question.
say he should not have said this. They think that comment is wrong. Respond to my question and let you speak. You're going off on a tangent.
I am not going off on a tangent. I am exposing the Modi government. You may have an issue with that. Don't call me to your show. The reality is that you are not giving space to the opposition. Even in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi speaking, you are showing Om Birla. Why should I see the speaker for 71% of the time? Do you question that? Have you questioned the BJP? Have you questioned Sansad TV on that? You are an anchor. And one of the foremost...
Ma'am, you were on the show yesterday and day before. We did exactly this. No, 1 second. Supriya Shirnath, now it's getting a little too much. You've been on the show and you've been on this show and you've made this point, and I let you make the point on the day that it happened because it's an important point. But answer the question that I'm asking you.
Rahul Kanwal, no, I'm answering that question. I answered that question for you as forcefully as I can. He was absolutely right. And he should say it over and over again, because the Prime Minister chooses to sloganeer and laugh in the House. Exactly the way the BJP spokesperson was laughing now. 100th day of violence in Manipur. Assam Rifles and Manipur Police are filing FIRs against each other. They falsely claim there is return of peace. Which part of Manipur is peace returning to?
Gaurav Bhatia, this charge that Supriya Shirnath is leveling, Rahul Gandhi said the same in the press conference, that given how serious Manipur is, the Prime Minister spent a lot of his time dissing the opposition, remarking how useless they were, rather than spending more time on talking about what went wrong in Manipur and how he intends to fix it. Gaurav Bhatia.
So, first thing first, I already answered that in the first segment. When Rahul, I told you, if they wanted a very narrow discussion only on Manipur, they should have accepted the offer by Amit Shah ji that there can be a discussion under the prescribed rule without any time limit. They did not agree to that. Second, I must say, if Manipur is so important for them, is it not proper for the leader to wait in the parliament and hear the entire reply of the Prime Minister? They decided to walk out on Manipur. The Prime Minister had not spoken on Manipur till that time. And third, why did they suspend their protest and discuss the Delhi services? Please ask her to be quiet now. Please ask her to be quiet.
Supriya, this is not fair. Gaurav Bhatia heard you, now let him speak.
And Rahul, I would also like to add to that. We all know that the opposition suspended their protest when it came to the Delhi Services Bill if their top priority and only priority was the Manipur issue, why did they engage in a discussion on the Delhi Services Bill? And then Rahul Gandhi leaves for Rajasthan because he has to do the election campaigning there. So this itself shows the hypocrisy of the Congress party. और मैं एक couplet और सुना देता हूँ.
Now you're challenging Supriya again and again. She better counter you with a couplet. शेर का जवाब तो शेर से ही मिलना चाहिए, Supriya. Go for it, Gaurav.
हाँ, मैं सुनाता हूँ. ये मणिपुर के लोग कांग्रेस के लिए कह रहे हैं, तुम गैरों की बात करते हो, हमने अपने भी आजमाए हैं. लोग कांटों से बच के चलते हैं, हमने फूलों से जख्म खाए हैं. और ये कांग्रेस पार्टी का चरित्र है. इंडिया में रहते हैं लेकिन भारत माता की हत्या करा देते हैं.
फूलों से जख्म खाए. Supriya, do you want to counter that? Do you have a share? How good is your shairi?
I do. It's very good. I'll tell you what is the good shairi.
Irshad.
देशद्रोही इंडिया को घमंडिया बुलाते हैं. देशद्रोही इंडियन एयरफोर्स को घमंडियन एयरफोर्स बुलाएंगे, घमंडिया नेवी बुलाएंगे, घमंडिया आर्मी बुलाएंगे. ये देशद्रोही है. मुझे शायरी की जरूरत नहीं है क्योंकि मेरी आंखों के सामने वो दो नंगी औरतें हैं जिनको आदमखोर की भीड़ घुमा रही थी. आपको शायरी सूझ रही है. मेरे आंख शर्म से झुक रहे हैं.
राजस्थान में 6,337 रेप्स हुए हैं.
ये हम में और आप
वहां की औरतें भी इंतजार कर रही है राहुल गांधी का. बट राहुल गांधी has started blowing flying kisses these days inside the temple of democracy. Stop shouting.
No, one second. I can't have both speakers speaking at the same time. That's not my style. That's not how I like to run debates. That's not fair. That's not right. I want to make sense, not noise. You shine through the power of your argument, through how you try and convince viewers by the righteousness of what you're saying, not just by speaking over each other. Rahul Srivastav, the next question that I asked was, do parliament speeches influence votes? Now, that's an important question. Does all of this, in the view of the voters, impact their voting preferences? Now, it's very interesting for me, as somebody who's fascinated always by data, that 51% of the respondents say that yes, parliament speeches influence votes. Rahul Srivastav, is that the sense you had as well, that half the respondents, for what it's worth, in this poll are telling Yashwant Deshmukh's team that they're influenced by parliamentary speeches when it comes to their voting preferences?
Rahul, I have seen no confidence motions, and if you remember, Atal Bihari Vajpayee's no confidence motion speech, 27th May 1996, is still considered one of the historic speeches in which Vajpayee had said that you may defeat me with one vote, but I will come back with better numbers. And I remember in the 1998 elections, it did resonate. If I also remember that whatever one may say, everybody in the panel may be criticized, but I remember that on the 18th of August, 2003, Sonia Gandhi led the opposition charge on a no confidence motion. She spoke for over 1 hour. She had a very clear 9 distinct failure charge sheet against the Vajpayee government, be it the coffin gate, be it the weakening of defense forces, be it the corruption cases, be it the stock market scam, and several others. And at that time, it was in 2003, and from there on, the Congress's currency among the voters in the 2004 elections did definitely improve. So there are ways you can actually utilize Parliament to send across a message. The
Very
BJP
important
used
point
it
you're making,
in
Yashwant
2010 by
Deshmukh.
disrupting the entire winter session.
This is an important argument. From what Rahul is saying and from this data, it's also a message to all our MPs. 51% of the respondents say they are influenced by parliamentary speeches. I mean, given how rarely Parliament functions nowadays, that's a very important takeaway from your poll.
Absolutely, and I totally agree with Rahul. I was also remembering both these instances, Sonia ji and Atal ji saying, going after that parliamentary speech, and they had an impact. And in fact, what thing that I was actually analyzing on, that after a long time, Rahul, there was one issue of Manipur where I could sense a very palpable anger among the people on the street, even among the BJP and NDA supporters after those gruesome videos went viral. But somehow, instead of taking that thing and debating in the parliament completely on Manipur as a session, somehow I feel as a political analyst, I think that opposition actually missed a very golden opportunity.
Okay, last question coming up on your screen right now. What was the impact of the debate in Parliament in Manipur and in this no confidence motion on the Prime Minister's image? So how is the Prime Minister's image impacted by what we saw this week in Parliament? Here are the results of the last question. In the poll this week, 46% of the respondents seem to think that the Prime Minister's image has become better or stronger. 33% of the respondents think his image has been badly impacted. How does he come out stronger, Yashwant Deshmukh? Given what's happened in Manipur, and that's the specific question you asked, how is it that Manipur makes his image stronger, Yashwant, in your view?
I think it's the overall impact of the debate that the PM, when he spoke, I think that's the impact, the way people have been taking in. And I think also the fact that PM is likely to say or do something once his lieutenants and other people have taken some strong concrete action on the ground. That's the understanding which the common person has. And I guess that is where it's more of a question of what Rajdeep said, that the performance of the opposition on the floor, that the speakers after speakers, they could not really take the government down on the things. Their content was probably not that impressive. That's what not taken.
Supriya, do you want to respond to that? That some of those who spoke on behalf of the opposition simply weren't as well prepared in the manner in which, for example, you're carrying the power of your argument and conviction to this debate. Many of the MPs who spoke on behalf of the India Alliance didn't have that kind of conviction. They came across ill-prepared, hardly made any punches, except for a few who did bat strongly. The likes of, say, Gaurav Gogoi, Asuddin Owaisi, Mahua Mitro, they did land some punches. Many of them were just very badly prepared, leading to the likes of Yashwant Deshmukh and Rahul Srivastava to ask whether this is an opportunity lost. They didn't do their homework properly.
I disagree with both of them, with all my due respect, and I will disagree because this isn't a college debate. This is about a burning issue, and which is why I started off by saying the very premise of the debate you're doing is wrong. The debate is not about the, this show is not about the debate or the no confidence motion or the delivery. This is about Manipur. How tough is that for people to understand? But having said that, I will say one thing. If everybody was so ineffective, the government would not run helter-skelter, actually suspending MPs from the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha with the alacrity with which they are doing. What wrong did Adhiranjan Chaudhary said? He is not a Hindi-speaking person. He said Neerav in Bangla. Why was he suspended? He is the leader of the Congress party in the Lok Sabha. You suspend the leader of the main opposition and you think you're going to be democratic there and you think you're going to be hailed there. That's the reality. They're running.
But this is a new trend, Gaurav Bhatia.
Because that's what anti-nationals do.
All these suspensions, are you sure that's the right thing to do? You can give them a reprimand, you can rebuke them, but to suspend them in this fashion will again lead the opposition to say that there is no space for a different point of view. The Neerav that he was referring to was the meaning of the word Neerav in Bangla, not in the manner in which it was interpreted.
And when he said Raja andha hai aur Draupadi ka vastra haran ho raha hai, that also was appropriate. Leader of opposition on the floor of the house makes such statements.
Supriya, let him speak. Supriya, extend to others the same courtesy you expect for yourself. Please, ma'am.
Ho raha hai na? You will make him speak for 3 minutes and not interrupt.
Now I will be very fair, especially because I know that you got your counter on. I mean, I try to be fair as I can even otherwise, but now that I particularly know that she's got her stopwatch on, I'm going to be doubly careful. 1 minute, go for it. Gaurav Bhatia, final words.
Thank you. You know, I would show a large heart to a woman who can only shout and waste time. Give my 15 seconds, I'll make my statement in 45 seconds. I think the last question that you posed is a very important one. The image of the Prime Minister has improved. 46% say that. I'll tell you the reason why. The people of India feel that he is very sincere. And yes, what happened in Manipur is shameful. But action was taken. The Home Minister was there. The Minister of State Home was there. And let us also not forget the people of the country know law and order is a state subject. And the Prime Minister also had in mind that this is a sub judice matter before the Honorable Supreme Court of India. You have to calibrate before you speak on such a subject. I don't think Rahul Gandhi will understand that, or the Congress spokesperson will understand that. But Prime Minister has a responsibility towards the Constitution and the people of the country. He was very well aware of his responsibility.
So you've heard from Supriya Shrinit,
No,
Gaurav
1 second.
Bhatia.
You have to give me 10 seconds.
Okay, 10 seconds.
You
Go
can't.
for it.
Please, 10 seconds.
Give her 15.
जितना पुअर इनकी हिस्ट्री उतनी मैथ्स भी पुअर है 35 और 15 50 होता है 60 नहीं होता है 60 सेकंड का 1 मिनट होता है द रियलिटी इज लॉ एंड ऑर्डर इज अ स्टेट सब्जेक्ट इफ द स्टेट हैज फेल्ड दैट इज व्हाई यू नीड टू सैक योर चीफ मिनिस्टर एंड गेट प्रेसिडेंट रूल इट्स व्हाट
मेरी बात छोड़ो आपकी तो जमानत जब्त हो गई थी
यू सेड इट आई डिड नॉट
आपकी तो जमानत जब्त हो गई थी
लॉ एंड ऑर्डर is a state subject. You said it, I did not.
When she was a journalist,
they need to be sacked.
she was closing up with a political party. ईमान भी किया था इनका. Reality is कि as a journalist, आपने ईमान बेच दिया और जमानत जब्त हो गई. ये रियलिटी है और बात सिखाने का तो राहुल गांधी को
I'm out of time on this debate. It was a heated week in Parliament, a heated week on this show as well. The PM has spoken, Amit Shah has spoken, Rahul Gandhi has spoken, many opposition leaders have spoken, and now in this political stock exchange, the voters of India have spoken in that sample poll that we did, which really gives you a sense of which way the political winds are blowing. So thank you, Yashwant and the Sea Voter team for compiling this data for us at such short notice, given that the survey given that the no confidence motion only got over late Friday evening, so we were able to put this out. Thursday evening it gets over, Friday we were able to put this out. So thank you for that. In a massive embarrassment for the Stalin government, the Madras High Court has taken suo motu cognizance of the acquittal of Tamil Nadu Minister Ponmudi in a disproportionate assets case. The DMK Neta was acquitted by a district court in 4 days, forcing the High Court to call this a shocking manipulation of the judicial system.
Trouble is mounting for Tamil Nadu Minister K. Ponmudi. In a self-indictment, the Madras High Court on Thursday said the acquittal of DMK Minister Ponmudi was the result of a strangely stage-managed procedure done by the High Court last year. Justice N. Anand Venkatesh, in an 18-page order, justified his decision to initiate suo motu revision of the recent acquittal of Higher Education Minister, his wife and friend in an unaccounted wealth case. The disproportionate assets case dates back to his tenure as the Minister of Transport and Highways in the previous DMK regime between 1996 and 2001. Justice Anand Venkatesh has questioned the decision of the High Court to transfer the trial in the case from the Viluppuram District Court to Vellore District Court in July 2022. Justice Venkatesh in his order notes that the final arguments were given in the form of written submissions on June 23 this year. The Vellore Principal District Judge on June 28 passed a 266-page judgment acquitting Minister Ponmudi and his wife, citing inadequate evidence. 2 days later, the Vellore District Judge retired from service. The High Court judge has described it as a case where the celestial stars of the accused appeared to be lining up perfectly with the blessings of judicial personages. Referring to the speed of the acquittal, Justice Venkatesh questions how a case that was lingering on for years suddenly picked up pace. According to the court, where a manifest illegality by a criminal court resulting in gross failure of justice comes to the notice of the High Court, it is its duty to set right the illegality. Meanwhile, politics has erupted over Ponmudi's acquittal. The AIA-DMK and BJP have slammed the DMK and demanded the resignation of the minister.
This is a welcome move by the Honorable High Court, and people are feeling very happy that justice still prevails.
There are many such incidences which has given a shoddy image on the entire process of judicial process. I think now the damage control exercise has started, and we hope the justice is delivered soon.
The High Court is set to hear the case next on September 7. Bureau Report, India Today.
This is where I wrap up the News Track tonight. I look forward to seeing you Monday evening at 8 p.m. Till then, from all of us here on the News Track team, goodbye, good night.